Good morning and welcome to Behind the Screen. I am JM, and this is a show where we hang out, we talk about games, board games, card games, role-playing games, miniature games, things that are fun, exciting, beautiful, and inspiring. And today we're continuing our Palladium Megaversal tour. Makes me a Megaversal ambassador. And we're looking at one of the expansions for Beyond the Supernatural, a book called Creature Feature. It's got this great, almost little shop of horrors, if you read through the book, style monster in there. But just a couple of news things before we start. First of all, hello to Padre, Mark, John, James, and Tink. Always good to see all of you. Tonight you can catch me on the Pinnacle channels. I will be doing a stream with Simon. He and I were both contributors on a Kickstarter that's going on right now called Bizarre Kingdoms, which is an expansion for Odysseys and Overlords, which is a fantasy world for Savage Worlds, for Suede. And the first expansion is out. It's on Kickstarter. I'll provide links in the show notes if you're at all interested. So, let me just pull that up. You guys get the all of the fun things about being live and forgetting, one or two things. So, why are we looking at Palladium? Not Creature Feature from Octonauts, although Mark, you can have a Benny in our next game because that creature report is that music lives rent-free in my head from now until the end of time, thanks to Zane's love of Octonauts. To answer James, you will be unavailable. At 8 EST tonight. So it's an hour later than tonight. So it'll be from 8 to 9 Eastern, so 7 to 8 Central. So, Creature Feature is an interesting book. With a title like Creature Feature, you may be expecting that it's chock full of monsters, and it is, sort of. This is actually a book that's a little bit more like a GM advice book for running Beyond the Supernatural. Because again, it's a modern day horror game, but doesn't have some of the standard touchstones that we expect from modern day horror. It's not a World of Darkness game. You're not playing the monsters. It's not Call of Cthulhu, although there's some overlap there because you are playing investigators, but it's not the 1920s. And then there's this heavy dose of modern skepticism and humanism, which makes it unique, but also could be, in theory, a little tough to run. So Creature Feature has 15 supernatural creatures. So 15 monsters for your games. And these are all very strange and unique creatures. From the Catacomb Lurker, which is the thing on the front cover, to the Blood Creeper, to the Grave Larva, which is this disgusting maggot that necromancers will insert under their flesh because the Grave Larva consume the PPE, the potential psychic energy of the dead, and then necromancers can insert them in their flesh and draw off of them like grotesque little batteries. It's the stuff of nightmares. But that doesn't account for the whole of the book. The book is almost 200 pages. And there's a small adventure at the end about a tenement building that is dealing with one of these creatures called the Squatter Adventure. But the majority of this book is advice. Advice from Kevin and I want to say it was Matthew. Steve Dawes. On how to run Beyond the Supernatural. It's a great set of treatises on how to run a supernatural horror game. How do I create monsters? What are some background tables that my investigators can use to flesh themselves out? How do I use monsters in the game? What kind of roles are they supposed to fill? It is essentially a DVD commentary companion to Beyond the Supernatural. You get rules clarifications, you get monster clarifications, you get how do I use this game? And having the joy of being able to hang out with Kevin for the last couple of weeks, I'm doing some interview work for him, and hearing his stories, these articles really read like Kevin sitting down with you at a convention and going, okay, so here's how I would run Beyond the Supernatural. If you want to have myself, Matt, Steve, and Josh at your table, this is how you do it. Which is really a difficult thing to do for most games. I ran into this with Jackals, I ran into this with Urban Decay. I've talked to other game designers and it's clearly a problem. And what kind of problem am I talking about? Well, we write the game not necessarily the way we run the game. When you run a game that you wrote, you are running it the way you see it in your head. The problem is getting that feel into the rules so the game runs with people who have never met you. It's impossible to box myself up with every Jackals book and come and explain to you how to run Jackals. Tink has been pushing me to do a series of here's how I run Jackals and what you may want to know about that. But a book like Creature Feature, where they took about a third to half of the book to say, all right, but here's how you run Beyond the Supernatural, is rare. These days, most GM or DM books are filled with charts or optional rules or generators, but they don't take the time, rarely, I can think of maybe 3 in the last decade, that actually take the time to say, here's how you run this game. Here's why you can run this game. What you should focus on. Here's how to design something beyond just the numbers. If you like Palladium books and want to get inside the head of their writers, Creature Feature is a great way to do that. One of the things I've noticed as I've been going through some of the newer books is that Kevin is taking more and more asides and saying, hey, here's a little nugget of history. Here's why I did this. Here's some designer notes on why the game works the way it works. The one game that I am very familiar with that does that is 13th Age. Rob says and Jonathan says, or throughout the book, sometimes they argue, sometimes they disagree, but they give you kind of this behind the scenes feel as if you're sitting there with the designers and they're explaining to you, thanks for buying my book, and here's how I run the game. So, Creature Feature, $27, you get 15 monsters, and these are not just stat blocks. They start with little stories, informations from the Laszlo Society and Agency about the monsters, and most of them are 6 to 12 pages for each of the monsters. So you're getting far more than just a set of stats. You're getting what people in the world think of the creature. You're getting adventure hooks, minions. You're getting plot ideas, ways to use these monsters in your campaigns. Overall, if I were going to run a Beyond the Supernatural campaign, this is a book that I would recommend for GMs. Maybe not actually, after the core rulebook, this might be the one that I would recommend as the second book that you get. You could get Tomes Grotesque and get more monsters, or Beyond Arcanum and get magic as opposed to psionics. But honestly, this is a companion book that really helps you as the game master tune in your Beyond the Supernatural game, kind of fine tune it, refine it, get it humming the way that the authors wanted to see it hum. Now, for me, Beyond the Supernatural is a great game, but on the list of Palladium games that I want to run, it's not in the top 3. If I were to come and sit down and do a Palladium fantasy game tomorrow, or a Palladium game tomorrow, it would probably be in this order: Palladium Fantasy, Early Rifts, and Heroes Unlimited. And we get to talk about all of those coming up in the near future. I will also be back on Saturday with Evan for our next part of our temporal view of Glorantha, looking at the Second Age. So please come join us. It'll be at 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern. Hang out, explore Glorantha with us. I'm taking all next week off. We've got the 4th of July next Thursday. We've got some stuff going on Tuesday morning. And so... Oh, wait, no, I'm not taking all next week off. I will be here next Tuesday. Haha. Tuesday I will be here. We're taking Thursday off next week. Tuesday I'm reviewing Heroes Unlimited, sharing the stories of how I got into gaming and the games that I ran with this, and why I think it might be a supers game for you. What do we have here in the chat? A Savage Worlds version of Jackals would be awesome. Tink is spreading the word of that. So I'm pondering how I would do that. I think it may be in the near future, but I'm working on Crucible of Realms right now, and the playtest is going super well. So I think that might be the next Savage Worlds thing that Iconic does. So that's it. Go check out Creature Feature. A link is in the show notes. Again, 200 pages for $27. Pretty great deal. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I am JM. This has been Behind the Screen, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Until then, have a good one, everybody.